It's a wrap in Rochester as the Bills break camp at St. John Fisher University. Still plenty of questions as the Bills get set for the preseason. I'm Kevin Carroll along with Andy Young. This is the Buffalo End Zone podcast. Andy, still a lot we don't know. I mean, we're just going into the preseason right now, so that's expected. But, I mean, over 12 practices at St. John Fisher, and here we are still scratching our head about some things.
It goes by fast.
Yeah.
It goes by really fast. There are days that are longer than others. But here we are. It seems like we just got out to camp and we were talking about would James Cook be there? And then he was there and it was all good. And then James Cook pulled a fast one on us.
Andy, I'm looking at our first podcast from training camp, and the headline is Camp is Cooking. James Cook, answered the question right off the bat. We don't have to talk about him holding out or holding in. He's out here practicing. And then, like you said, he pulls the old switcheroo and just out of the blue stops practicing. And we see him one day, we see him less the next day, and we don't see him at all for a few days.
Yeah, Sean McDermott did say that James Cook has been at the facility at St. John Fisher throughout his hold-in over the last 4 practices, has been taking part in team meetings, in position group meetings, and I think Ray Davis alluded to that the other day when we talked to him about it, that Cook had been around and also had been a part of the walkthrough.
Right.
He is just not participating in the practices, and who knows when that's going to end, because it seems day to day that Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane don't really know when James Cook plans to get back on the practice field, if at all. I tend to think that this is going to get wrapped up in some way, shape, or form. At some point, Cook has to practice and then play in the games. I don't see a scenario where he sits out games. Is it possible? Anything is possible. But for a guy who came to minicamp saying, I'm here because I like my money, it would strike me as disadvantageous to then not play in games.
But if you're the Bills, what do you do at that point? Just let him not do anything now for the rest of the summer? And then once the season starts?
It's not really up to them. What can they do? He can decide to sit out and get fined.
No, I understand that. But, what if Ray Davis looks real good leading up to the regular season and James Cook's like, okay, I'm going to come back and play?
Well, then
you're like, we're pretty comfortable with Ray Davis
No.
right now.
No, that's not a scenario I see. They're not going to be like, all right, we're done with
If
you.
I were in charge, that would be what happened.
Well, that's why you're sitting here and not at Brandon Beane's desk.
What I tell my wife all the time, if I knew how to do any of that stuff, I wouldn't be doing this.
Right. Here we are. We just talk about it for minimal pay.
Right.
Yes. No, I mean, this will resolve somehow. I mean, you keep seeing these reports from national writers, Diana Rossini, first Tom Pelissero, who say what their understanding is the two sides aren't that far off and they're just trying to get it over the finish line. To me, that strikes me as Cook's representatives putting that out to kind of put the pressure on the Bills publicly to say fans and media clamor, well, if it's not that far off, why don't they just get it done? What's going on? Bills, come on, get this done, right? So to me, that's the leverage Cook has right now because he really has no other leverage. I mean, he can certainly withhold his services in the season, but then he doesn't get paid. He's got to play at least 6 games to accumulate a vested season.
Right.
So, I mean, he's going to show up at some point. But, I mean, to your point, if Ray Davis goes out there and he's looking good in the preseason, which they might not use him a ton because they don't want to get him banged up too, not knowing the Cook situation.
Trickle down thing too.
Right. So
how much is Ty Johnson and Ray Davis going to now play in the preseason, and
right.
Gore and everyone else coming in behind that?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see because obviously you don't want to get Ray Davis banged up regardless, but if Cook is going to somehow stretch this out towards the season even more, then it becomes even more tenuous. So he probably won't play much, I wouldn't think. Maybe a little bit, but we'll see. Ty Johnson, of course, then's the next man up, and then you've got the combination of Darrington Evans, who's actually looked really good in training camp, and I think he's got some juice, and Frank Gore. But to your point earlier, if Cook decides, the week before the season he's going to play and he's got enough time to ramp up, James Cook's playing because he's a damn good player. He's the most explosive player they have on their offense, and they need him. Josh Allen said, we desperately want him out there with us, and we hope it can get done. So the players would love to see him. I know that Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane would love to, but they've got to handle the business part of it. Sean McDermott said today that, we've got to just move on. We move on with who we have. We respect James. We understand it's a business, but we've got to get guys ready who are going to be playing for us, at least in the preseason.
McDermott with a little curveball. I got what he was saying that he expects James Cook to be at practice every day, and I took that as I
general.
Expect everyone
Coach
to be
speak.
at practice,
right?
If they're ready. That got everyone just for a brief moment, and I think McDermott kind of caught himself, like, oh, maybe this sounds like he's going to be at practice, and corrected that. But you would think if you're the Bills, you're expecting him to be there, and I still think to this point, Andy, I still think they are close, and that's why. You hear he's in the meetings, he's at the walkthroughs, that it just seems like he doesn't want something to happen right now physically to throw this whole thing out of whack.
Well, it's the only way. That's one part of it. It's the only way he can not get fined, too. He can't just not be there at all.
Right.
So he has to be, if he's staying at Fisher, he has to be staying at Fisher in the dorms like everybody else, and he has to be in the meetings or whatever, or else they fine him, right? So that's the part of it that is interesting, is that he's there and he's a part of it. It's just I'm withholding my services till we get something done here.
Yeah, I'm just trying to – I think a lot of people who aren't in the know think maybe he's just sitting in his dorm room all day.
No.
Not doing anything. He
Right.
is doing Bill stuff. And
your point about McDermott, about what he said. He was asked, do you expect James Cook to be out there today? And in a coach speak kind of way, McDermott said, yeah, I expect him to be out there. And everyone kind of went with that.
Right.
And then he couched it with, just like I expect everyone who's here to be out there. And then said, it remains to be seen if we'll see him out there today, which we didn't.
But not a hide nor a hair,
So,
Andy.
That's what I say, media friends. Listen to an entire answer before you tweet.
We all still looked for him for the first 10 minutes.
Right.
Too.
Because we didn't know.
Right.
No shade to anybody, but
so
slow it down. We're an industry under attack. Let's slow it down here and get it right.
That's a valid point, Andy. Slow it down, get it right. So the running back room, short a guy, but there are a lot of positions short guys with the Bills, Andy, because injuries palooza at this year's training camp. It seemed like someone was leaving at least once every practice. I mean, if there wasn't, it's darn near close to that. And the list is long. The wide receiver room really banged up.
Safety
Really banged up. Cornerback banged up. Dane Jackson's dealing with a little something. And, of course, their top overall pick, Maxwell Hairston, injures his knee. Not as bad as they thought, but or it looked. I was there. It looked bad, but not as bad as it looked. But you do have bodies coming back as well.
Yeah.
And I got this hair just right over my eye. I can't get it. Go on. Sorry.
This makes for good audio. Hey, listen, they are really banged up, and someone asked Sean McDermott about that today, and he said he talked with head athletic trainer Nate Bresky, and Nate said, yeah, we actually have had more injuries than in past training camps in recent memory. It has piled up more. Not all of them to the severe extent. No one has been ruled out for a long time.
Right.
But it's tough. It's tough to get guys going. McDermott said he is concerned that they just don't have the time on task together. Guys will be healthy for the season, but they're missing valuable time right now to gain chemistry, whether it's the receivers with Allen or the two safeties, which, having Bishop out and hurt again is concerning, just like last year, a guy who was expected to make a big jump. Part of the reason he wasn't on the field to start last season and didn't play a whole lot was because he was hurt through most of training camp and into the season. Well, here we are again with Cole Bishop. And now Taylor Rapp, who's been banged up here and there, he's going to be out at least a week with a knee injury. So your two starting safeties potentially are out. And then you're down to DeMar Hamlin, who McDermott sang the praises of and said has done a nice job. That's a good part. They've got some depth there that DeMar Hamlin is there. And guess who's been playing the other safety? Cam Lewis, our old buddy from UB, who has played pretty much every position in the defensive backfield, outside corner, nickel corner, safety, dime, all of it. He's been, interestingly, ahead of Derek Forrest, seemingly in that safety rotation. So, I mean, you're going to be looking at a whole lot of him. Good news, Khalil Shakir, not expected to have his injury linger into the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
And Sean McDermott said that he's confident that Shakir will be okay because he's dealt with ankle injuries before with a high ankle sprain and came back okay from that. So
didn't he have an ankle sprain against the Ravens last year and only missed the Texans game?
Yeah, and think about this, how big Khalil Shakir is. What were the two Bills' worst offensive games last year?
Well, the game against the Texans it seemed like Josh Allen could not find anybody open ever.
And they were horrible against the Ravens.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Shakir got hurt early in that game, stayed in it for a while, but he wasn't the same. Had a big breakaway catch down the field, but generally they were horrible in that game. Shakir had gotten hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Texans, that game was a mess. That looked like the 2018 Bills, Allen's first year. They just had no clue what they were doing out there.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the panic after the Texans game.
We did a whole podcast about that.
Like what are they going to do? They can't the funny part is, Andy, that's when the everybody eats mantra started, and I think I said, well, right now nobody's eating because nobody's getting open. So that's just how important Shakir is. So that's the good news that Shakir's coming back. You still got to be concerned, though, with Curtis Samuel.
Yeah, let's talk receivers.
Like you talk about Cole Bishop missing time again, 2 camps in a row. Curtis Samuel had a rough start his first year with the Bills. I think he came on in the playoffs for sure.
Yeah.
But again, to not see him out there day after day after day. Now, that being said, he was out there with helmet and shoulder pads doing sprints and cutting a little bit in the area where the Bills have their guys trying to work their way back. So to have the other guys didn't have helmet shoulder pads on. He did.
Mm-hmm. So I'm getting concerned with Samuel. And not because I don't think he's a good player. It's just, is he going to be available?
Right.
Is he going to be available in a way that allows him to be ready for the season? Even if he's healthy in 4 weeks or whatever it is when the Bills kick off against the Ravens, will he have had enough time? Again, with Josh Allen in the offense, a couple of new pieces, new wrinkles, all those sorts of things. So that opens the door for, if he's hurt for a while, for IR, all those sorts of things. We'll see. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
He could be getting closer, but we'll see. But then it makes you wonder, how much of a lock is he?
Right.
But they did invest quite a bit in a contract in him, so that's not easy to just get out of and just say, hey, we're cutting him, right?
But if you go into the season, you got Joshua Palmer, Elijah Moore.
Well, that was the other point.
Shakir,
Elijah Moore.
Keon Coleman.
Yeah.
And then Tyrell Shavers has been coming on strong too. I mean, that puts Sanders in a really bad
Samuel
in a really bad spot.
You had to do it. I knew you'd get one off.
I didn't do it on purpose.
Yeah. Yeah, and I had been wondering, talking with people about Elijah Moore, because he started out camp pretty well, but then he got banged up, and then I haven't seen him flash in a while at camp. And I was like, they didn't have a heavy investment in him. I think he had $2.5 million or something.
Right.
Could he be gone? But with the way that Samuel has not been healthy and Shakir's banged up, that would be the guy that fits into that area that can play some slot and do those sorts of things. And it has opened things up wide open, I think, for Tyrell Shavers, as you mentioned, to make this roster, who Sean McDermott went out of his way to say, this guy is tough as nails, and sang the praises of Tyrell Shavers. And this is the second straight summer where we've seen that, and that he has really impressed. He got banged up, fought through it, and has had a really nice last week or so of camp. Last couple of weeks, really. And I think he has a good chance, whether they keep 6 or 5, I think he's in the mix to make this roster. And the thing with Shavers is he's your Keon Coleman backup type player.
Okay.
They don't have another outside, tall, ex-receiver who can block and do all those things. And Shavers offers you special teams ability that some of the other guys don't. So it's whether they want to keep 6 or keep 5, and something funky happens with either Elijah Moore or Curtis Samuel. But I think Shavers certainly could be in the mix to make this team and has earned that chance. I would say, especially with special teams, keep 6 and
Absolutely.
bring Shavers into the mix. But typically they don't like to keep 6.
I get it, but it's time to keep 6. I think this is the first wide receiver group as a whole, Andy, that I think that the Bills are putting out there going into a season that looks complete to me.
You don't think that, like, the Diggs years, they looked complete?
I think you had Diggs,
Davis.
and Davis.
When they had Diggs, Davis, John Brown, Cole Beasley, I mean, that was pretty lights out. 2020, when they lit it up.
Was John Brown injured most of that year or no?
No, it was some of that year, yes. But he was in that mix.
All right, I'm a big Cole Beasley guy. I might be speaking out of turn here, but
that's why we have these discussions.
so since then, I really forgot that they all played together. My mind goes, okay, Beasley and Brown came, they were doing well, but they just needed that extra piece. Then Diggs comes in, and I totally forget about John Brown at that point.
Well, that's what really completed the thing, and it was.
And who else did they bring in?
Well, then the next year they had Emmanuel Sanders after John Brown left.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, you look back to that year. Let's look up the receiving stats here. I mean, Steph Diggs, Cole Beasley, Gabe Davis, John Brown, he played in 8 games that year.
Okay.
So he had 33 catches, almost 500 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Diggs lit it up. That was a huge year, 127 catches, 1,500 yards. He was first-team All-Pro. Beasley had a huge year, almost 1,000 yards on 82 catches, 4 touchdowns. Gabe Davis averaging 17 yards a catch. He had 600 yards and 7 touchdowns as a rookie. You still had Isaiah McKenzie. So that year was a very complete Bills offense.
So how long ago was that?
That was 2020.
That was that long ago?
Yeah, that was when they burst on the scene in the COVID year and just lit everybody on fire and went to the AFC Championship game and lost.
So then I can say this is the most complete receiver room I see without a A1 wide receiver like Diggs.
If you want.
That's what I'm going to say then.
You can say it. But it'll be interesting because I think Elijah Moore has capability, but I haven't seen a ton of him in camp. Palmer looks good. Like, he's going to be solid. He's going to be very important. Keon, we've ridden the roller coaster with him all camp. That for a while was the big story, was Keon. Some days bad, some days good, some practices, half of it good, half of it bad.
Right.
But if he can continue to just find little ways to be a difference maker, different little ways to get open, if he can continue to make those big plays on the sidelines where he can rise up and catch it, and then mix in the opportunity where he can run a slant and he can catch a guy off guard, I think that's big. You don't have to completely build your receiving repertoire all at once. You don't have to run every route in the league and be freaking Jerry Rice. But you got to build a little more each year and get a little bit better. And I've seen some steps that would lead me to believe that he will, but there's going to be inconsistencies because I think that's just who he is.
Yeah, what about Laviska Shenault? I don't see
it.
Yeah, I don't see it either. I think him being out at the start of camp put him way behind, and
I didn't really see it to begin with, especially with Brandon Codrington being number 1 on the depth chart for punt returner and kick returner.
Right.
Shenault is not a punt returner, has never done it.
Mm-hmm.
But he's been a decent kick returner over the course of his career. I don't know if I don't think they have a roster spot for him.
Yeah. So we mentioned pass catchers. Dalton Kincaid has looked like he's
looking good.
Come back from the frustration on how the season ended last year. Dawson Knox, he missed time as well, but I don't see any worry there because he's been in the system so long and he seems to know when Josh Allen is moving around, he knows how to get open, and Josh will look for him.
I think that Kincaid has had a really nice camp. I think he's been one of the more solid pass catchers. He's involved very often. Allen looks his way a lot. He's available. Now we got to see it carry over into the regular season. He's dealt with a little bit of injury stuff too. Obviously did last year, and that hampered him big time in his sophomore season. But I think there's some room to kind of meet in the middle of expectations from last season where everybody was like, this guy's going to be a top 3 to 5 tight end. And
I had him close to 1,000 yards receiving.
That just never materialized. And so there's a middle ground there, and I think he can reach closer to not necessarily that level, but being a bigger part and connecting with Josh Allen. The interesting part is his targeted rate was pretty high, but his catch rate was low.
Mm-hmm.
Is that because of uncatchable balls from Allen, just not being on the same page? Is he hurt? Timing off? What was that? Because Allen looked his way quite a bit.
Right.
But was Josh just not good?
Well, Allen did say at the start of camp that there were throws to Kincaid that he missed, and it was on Allen himself.
Josh is good at falling on the sword.
Yeah.
Which he should do when he's paid what he's paid and has the status that he has.
It's been incredible seeing him become the leader of the team that he, like, I can't remember. It was something on social media where someone said, congratulations, Bills, you got the next J.P. Lossman. I was here when J.P. Lossman arrived on scene. I remember Drew Bledsoe just refused. He's like, I'm not here to help this kid become a pro quarterback and wanted out. Like, I remember all that. The whole Lossman thing, I don't even know why I'm talking about J.P.
Where are we going here?
I don't know. I just started rambling. But, yeah, watching Allen over these years just grow from a rookie into, oh, this is a young up-and-comer, to now just a bona fide star in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, he could very well be the best player in the league. It's between him and Mahomes and Lamar.
Yep.
And, I mean, those guys are cream of the crop. It's just about getting it done for him. They have done it in the regular season. They've done it for the most part in the postseason. Then they get that little bugaboo where it just doesn't work. And it's not necessarily always because of Allen. I've heard some criticism that, man, a couple of times they've had the ball and they don't come through. Well, it works both ways. It would have been nice if they had the ball and he could be kneeling on it too at some point.
That would be better.
Right?
Yes. Speaking of Allen, he, in his final press conference out at camp at Fisher, brought up the defense and how he thinks the defense is going to be a major problem for other teams around the NFL this year, just from what he's seen going against them over these 12 practices.
My two, not necessarily surprise. One's a surprise. One wasn't necessarily. My two biggest takeaways from the defense are Trey White and Matt Milano.
Okay.
Both have looked really good. Trey, a little more surprisingly than Milano, but Milano has been dealing with injuries, and he's getting up there in age. I mean, it's painful to say for a guy that looks like him, and he's like 30. But that's where we are. Same with Trey. Same draft class. Milano really looks good. Looks as good as ever. Flying around. I watched a play today where there was a little screen or a dump off, and he was there in no time flat and had it diagnosed. I think someone said the other day at a practice I missed that he tracked down Elijah Moore on a jet sweep type play and was right there and had it diagnosed. Looks as fast, as quick as ever, which was always his game. He knew where to be, and he could get there quickly and make the big play. And he looks like that. As far as Trey White, so much of the talk about the competition with Hairston and all of those sorts of things that were happening, his return from injuries, the things that he went through in a year away, man, he's looked really good and strong.
He's looked incredible. Like, you sit there and you want, like, this still sticks in my head. One play from training camp. And I know going in when we had our pre-training camp show, my player to watch was Trey White. I wanted to see what you had with him now. And he had been impressive since the first day of training camp all the way up to the last. What sticks in my head is Josh Allen had Jordan Palmer wide open coming down the side.
Joshua,
whatever. That's splitting hair. What did I call him?
Jordan.
I thought I said Josh. Who's Jordan Palmer? No.
The quarterback coach.
Let's get back to it.
Sorry.
Anyways, Joshua Palmer down the sideline. Looks like Trey White is toast, and Trey White makes up ground as that ball's in the air and gets in there at the last second and bats it away. And that, to me, was there. That's Trey White. He's back.
Mm-hmm. And on
Stay healthy.
Right. On the other side, Christian Benford, just rock solid.
Yeah.
He's awesome. I watched a play today, 11 on 11. Allen throws a deep ball. I think it was to Chenault on play action. And you see Benford and Trey converge and break the play up because there was a step there, but they both recovered, break up the play. They actually collided, which wasn't great. And Trey kind of pounded his fist on the ground after. I'm like, oh, boy.
Oh.
But to see those two really locked in and working together is good. I think there has to be big strides on the defense. They just weren't good enough last season. They've been great at taking the football away, but they've been not that great the last little bit here in the other areas. Generating sacks consistently, third down defense consistently, getting off the field, right? I think they had one of the worst percentages of drives that ended in a punt, which is stunning for a Sean McDermott defense. The bend but don't break was always the thing.
Right.
But they just broke too much.
Mm-hmm. And that was the focus during the offseason, was to fix the defense, Andy. Joey Bosa in. Joey Bosa looks like Joey Bosa.
Yeah, there was a couple of times where he took advantage of some backup tackles. And I watched one play where he did this inside spin move and absolutely torched the tackle he was going up against. And it was not fair. And I saw Bosa starting to come out. But it's a similar situation. Stay healthy.
Health is the key in this one. The team isn't super healthy. Michael Hoyt, another guy that they brought in, he'll be suspended the first 6 games.
Mm-hmm.
But he's caught my eye a few times.
Yeah, he is
out there at practice. That looks like someone that when he gets back, he's going to want it and might just be the fresh legs you need going into – they got the bye after week 6. So
right, so it won't be till week 8. And, man, I've been impressed with Hoyt. And they're moving him around a little bit. I'm not going to get into detail because I don't want to get whapped by Bill's PR. But yeah, he's a guy who they can use in a variety of ways. He's got versatility. This is a guy who's been a defensive tackle. He's played outside linebacker, edge, has some coverage skills. Imagine that in blitz situations and things like that in a zone blitz type of thing. So he's a player that I think is going to cause some problems. I think A.J. Epinesa had a nice camp, and he's got to take another step. He said it himself that he thought he did well in the basics and in the run game, and now he needs to prove more as a pass rusher. He's suddenly in another contract year, which is amazing.
That's crazy how time flies by.
Rousseau really good, too, and Ed Oliver really good.
Yeah, and the rookies, Andy, I mean, you have these draft picks that have come in. What have you thought? What have you seen from this rookie class with the defensive linemen?
It's interesting because you first notice Deion Walker because of his size and all those things. And early in camp, he had some plays, I think we talked about it, where he really pushed the pile back and made a difference that way in pushing the interior rush. And then you would see occasionally T.J. Sanders flash where he can penetrate and get in the backfield and make a play. Landon Jackson, he's been fine, but I didn't notice him a ton making splash plays. And that might just be how it is for him. Mm-hmm. He reminds me a lot of Epinesa, which is a good, fine NFL player.
We get to see more with the preseason game coming up, of course.
And when they start to game plan and when they're getting after it, we'll see more of that. But I think they've been fine. They've all had their moments. Jackson probably less than the other two in terms of what I saw with my eyes.
Right.
That's not to say I missed. I'm not watching the film, right? So I could have missed a play where he made a great play or made a difference. But I think those are going to be guys that they count on, obviously, and they have to.
And then Joe Andreessen
Yeah.
putting another chapter in his story. The battle going into this was with Balin Spector. Balin Spector waived injured, opening the door for Joe.
He's got it locked up.
Yeah.
He's going to be the backup.
And he's looked.
He's really good.
Yes.
Joe Andreessen.
He's looked impressive watching practices.
Yeah, Joe Andreessen isn't just a plucky good story anymore. Right? After all he did last season, showing up as an undrafted free agent, the hometown story, the great game in Pittsburgh when Milano was hurt, and then plays special teams and gets a start at the end of the season. This is a guy who has big dreams, big aspirations, works really hard, and has gotten after it and just continues to ascend.
Yeah.
And Balin Spector, unfortunately, has not been able to stay healthy. The Bills had to say, look, you can't be available. We've got to move on. And we're going to give the reps to the guy who is here and has proven it. Dorian Williams back on the practice field. That's a good sign. I don't know about Shaq Thompson. I think he's versatile, and they might keep him around, but he's been banged up too, and just haven't seen enough from Eddie Ufocio to know if he'll make the roster. But for Joe Andreessen, to me, it looks like he's locked down the backup middle linebacker job, and he'll have a big role on special teams too.
Yeah, absolutely. And all these guys now with the preseason starting are going to get their shot to improve. Like I always say this, camp is one thing, practice is one thing. You can't follow through on anything. So this is when these guys can kind of show that they can light it up. We know preseason game against the Giants coming up Sunday at 1:00. The main thing we know is who's not playing. Josh Allen will not be playing. Mitch Trubisky gets the start. Talk about the backup quarterback battle. To me, it's Mitch Trubisky. I mean, I'm not saying that it won't happen, but to me, he's the backup quarterback.
Yeah, I think Trubisky has come on more through camp.
Mm-hmm.
I think he has such a familiarity with Joe Brady, with Josh, with the system. I think Mike White had his moments early and hasn't done anything particularly wrong. But Trubisky offers them something that White doesn't, in that he's mobile.
Mm-hmm.
He can run around and make plays. He talked about today trying to spin the ball faster.
Yeah, I've never heard that before.
In essence, zing it in there a little more, right? Get more rotation on the football to be more accurate. I would probably give the leg up right now to Trubisky, but that's not to say that we get in this preseason and Mike White lights it up and Trubisky stinks, that it couldn't go the other way. I thought it was really close for a while.
Yeah.
I think slight edge now is Trubisky, but look, we got 3 preseason games to go, and I think there still is a battle for the backup quarterback job.
And head coach McDermott did say that starters will play a quarter or so, and then he'll work in the backups after that. I guess it all depends on what your
Who the hell do you have?
What your definition of starters like. Are you going to run Joshua Palmer out there? Like, are you like?
They'll be better off signing Jordan Palmer. He can play some quarterback for him.
I don't appreciate your attitude towards me right now.
Yeah, they're so banged up that you're not going to see. I mean, half the starters won't play just because of that. It feels like.
Yeah.
So.
You looking forward to it? I am. I don't know why, but
you're not working, so you get to sit at home and watch it. That might be one reason.
Yep.
If you were headed to the stadium, would you be so?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
So take that.
All right.
Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
I will. I could use something like that right now.
Those games can be so boring, though.
I know. Well, and here's the thing. When we're working, it's different because you're kind of keeping an eye on everything.
Right.
If you're sitting at home, like after the starters come out and you're into that third quarter, it gets to be a slog, and you're like, I don't care. It's exciting to me because football is sort of back.
Right.
We saw the return of the blue and red. We'll see the final preseason game. That's the last one at Highmark Stadium.
That's true.
And it's just good to see how things are going to shake out with different position battles. So I always enjoy that. Am I like, oh, my God, I can't wait to watch this football game? No. But I will be like that for the opener because that is going to be awesome.
I'm watching preseason football whenever it's on, and I'm free.
Like teams around the league?
Yeah.
Like a Dolphins-Browns?
Yep.
Third quarter?
Well, no, usually just like the first half.
Okay.
Of them.
Somehow there's always a horrible Patriots preseason game on that I find.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is horrible.
I think that one is Friday night this week. What
Right.
about Hard Knocks, Andy?
I found it kind of boring. There were good stories to introduce people to a national audience, but we didn't really learn that much. I felt like it was nice to put a face on Trey White. I think he deserves it.
Yeah.
Looked good. But I wasn't like, I liked it because I cover the team. I've been following the Bills my entire life. So it was cool to see where they would go. I thought Pittsford looked awesome.
The aerial shots.
Yeah.
Of like downtown Rochester and
St. John Fisher looked great. Yeah. So that was cool. It was cool to see Dion with his kids, but we kind of know that stuff being in it.
Right.
But they're just trying to introduce the characters. Now it's going to start to get juicy with the James Cook stuff, with some of the injuries. We saw a little bit of the injury stuff with Max Hairston at the very end, which they kind of just like glossed over it.
Yeah, you and I were talking about how far they would go into camp in the first episode.
Yeah.
But I think we were referring to James Cook. We assumed that there'd be more about Hairston's injury in this,
and I'm expecting them to do some Joe Andreessen.
Yeah.
I think they're going to do some Ray Davis because I followed him around. They followed him around quite a bit in his whole backstory.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that'll be interesting. And then they didn't get a ton into the meeting rooms and the decisions. That's what I told you from the beginning.
Right.
I don't really care about the on-field stuff. We see that ourselves. To me, it's more of like, all right, who's interesting in the meeting rooms? When Brandon Beane has to call a guy in to cut him, like, what's that going to be like? We're a few weeks out from that still.
Yeah.
But I'm really interested to see more of that because that's the stuff I don't get to see. Like, we get a front row seat as media members, but that stops at the door of the facility. We don't get to go inside and see that stuff.
Right. I like what Spencer Brown said the other day when asked if he watched it. He's like, I've lived it. I don't want to rewatch something I went through already, which one would have to imagine training camp. Like, if you're in it, like, I like watching it because of what you said. I normally don't watch Hard Knocks, usually because the team just isn't interesting to me.
Yeah. The Bills, honestly, aren't that interesting. They're kind of a boring, good team. They don't have a ton of superstars. There's not a ton of drama besides the James Cook thing.
Right.
McDermott's pretty buttoned up.
Josh Allen.
Josh is buttoned up and just kind of milquetoast.
Yeah.
Right?
Hey. Oh, you want to mic me up?
Yeah.
Okay. But I'm going to keep watching, Andy. It's fun to watch. We'll get to the 3 and outs when the season starts. I got nothing.
Who's your camp MVP?
I want to say Trey White just because I was not sure what to expect from him. Like I said earlier, that he is impressed. Like his leadership, the way he handles his teammates, the way he was working with Max Hairston before the injury and ran over to him during the injury just shows what kind of guy he is. And his play on the field to me, like, you could easily say Josh Allen, but I'm not going to say it. It's Trey White to me.
Yeah, I would say Trey. I think Benford is a good candidate.
I'm surprised how much of a leader Benford is now.
Yeah.
I mean, I talked about how Josh has grown since we've been covering them. I mean, Benford was a late draft pick.
Really quiet. He had a press conference the other day. I turned to Derek Boyko and Kevin Kearns from Bills PR, and I said, what the hell happened to this guy? He's so talkative and has really opened up and talked about that leadership and his faith and all of those things and being a mentor and being the best. Benford was great. Obviously, Allen was Josh. He's the MVP of everything.
Right.
So, I mean, but if you're talking a non-Josh Allen MVP, I'd probably go Benford. How about any surprise cuts or makes, like a guy that you think could surprisingly be cut, or a guy that's going to make it that most people aren't talking about?
I still think Elijah Moore might get cut.
Okay, and we talked about
I
that.
do.
Yeah, that's a
Going
possibility.
in, not much has changed in that regard. I mean, with so many injuries, it's hard to grasp who might get cut and who might not. Like, I thought Dane Jackson might get cut,
but now with Hairston out.
but with Hairston out, he's good to have around until they figure out what's going on there.
I wonder what they do with Dwayne Carter. That's defensive line's interesting because they've got a ton of guys. I know that the couple of guys are suspended, but they still have a lot of guys.
He looked so good, though, early last season.
Right, but, I mean, you're not – so bring up the depth chart. Let's go Bills depth chart. But if you're talking about Ed Oliver and Daquan Jones,
yeah,
I don't think either one of those guys is going anywhere. I mean, I've heard it bandied about that they could get rid of Daquan Jones, but I doubt it.
Right.
Then you got Walker and Sanders, right?
Yep.
And then Ogunjobi and Carter. That's your 6, right? Plus Zion Logue and some other people.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not – are you keeping 6? Are you keeping 5 active?
Right.
Do you have those 4 and then Carter is not active on game days? Do you just get rid of Ogunjobi? Like, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to handle that because they're not going to have that many defensive tackles. Now, D tackles get hurt a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That happens all the time. Like, guys are banged up. It's a tough position to play. I keep an eye out on that Dwayne Carter situation or a trade of some kind. Like,
yeah,
you know,
usually doesn't something happen? Doesn't Brandon Beane do something like towards the middle of the preseason that kind of?
Yeah, sometimes there's a trade in that week right after the game, the final preseason game or whatever. I just wonder about the numbers game with some of these spots.
Right.
Because the way guys are banged up too, like, do they need extra guys at safety or a 6th receiver like we said?
Or a place kicker.
Right. That's another thing. Is Ray Davis going to be doing the kicking duties in this game? They did work out another guy.
Right. So it'll be interesting. I mean, if Ray Davis can kick an extra point or you just go for 2 the whole time, but
you want to get
kicking the ball off.
But you want to get your work in with the special teams guys, with Reed Ferguson and with the new punter who's the holder, Brad Robbins, and doing that the right way. So you want to get that work in. So then it's like, do they sign a guy just to get through this game until Tyler Bass can come back from his pelvis area injury?
Yeah. I would assume Robbins can kick off.
But do they want to risk like getting him hurt?
Right.
Overextending him with the kickoffs. It's different movements of muscles, that sort of thing. You just bring in a body, almost like a camp arm, right? Like when teams sign just a random guy off the street for the last preseason game just to get through it. Do you sign a kicker who can just come in and do the duty for the day?
I could hit a 25-yard field goal barefoot when I was in high school.
That was a long time ago.
I know. That was when I was the best slot wide receiver in the world, according to Stevie Johnson on one of his tweets.
I've seen your pictures. You made it look good at least.
That was the important part. With the amount I played, I just wanted to look like an NFL wide receiver out there.
Chicks dig the long ball.
But, okay, Bills, Giants coming up preseason. Again, I'm looking forward to just seeing what some of these guys are going to be able to do game speed, including, some of the rookies and whatnot.
Hey, before we go, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share, all the things, whether you're an audio listener or a viewer on YouTube or Facebook. Help us out. We enjoy interacting, so if you've got a comment or a question, hit us up on social media or in the chats or comment sections there, and we'll try to answer it next time on Buffalo and His Own Podcast.
Absolutely. As always, thanks for joining us, everyone.